Here are the three tools I'll be using in today's video. The first one here is a TPMS sensor activation tool. This one will activate the sensors on GM vehicles, 315 and 433 megahertz sensors. The EL-50448. There's a lot of these tools out there. I do have a link down in the description section, or should have one down in the description section to this particular one on Amazon. It's an affiliate link, so if you want to purchase this, it will help the channel. I'll receive a commission at no extra cost to you. This one is used pretty easily by pointing the antenna at the tip of the valve stem, basically at the point of the rim where the valve stem is located, and pressing the triggering button. That will send a signal to wake up the sensor, and then the sensor will transmit its info to the TPMS receiver in the vehicle, and then that's how it learns what ID is in what location. And I'll show you that procedure in just a little bit. This is an Autel Maxi TPMS TS601, and this will do the same thing as this does, but it will do it for multiple manufacturers of vehicles, and it will also allow you to retrieve the information and examine it for review, and if necessary you can use the OBD2 cable here to connect it to your vehicle to upload that information to the TPMS subsystem. I've actually done that with the Kia Soul that we own, and I've also used this tool at a car show a few years back where I was able to correct the 2009.5 Pontiac G8 GT that he had problems with his TPMS sensors not being initialized correctly by the tire shop, so we were able to fix it by scanning them and then uploading the information to the vehicle. So that's a very nice tool to have for that. It also has ability to go through and check other things in the vehicle, such as the readiness monitors for smog check readiness. You can also scan, check the signal strength of your fob if you're curious if your fob's transmitting. In this case, depending on where, looks like down here's where it picks it up, and you can see if your fob is actually transmitting, so that's nice to have as well. Then over here we have the Autel MaxiSys MS906 you've probably seen several times on my channel, and I've used this in the TPMS subsystem of the Caprice to reset the cold inflation pressures, and the reason for that is the vehicle was originally equipped with high-speed pursuit tires with a recommended cold inflation pressure of 44 psi, at least on the label for this vehicle, and many of the other Caprices will be similar pressures. But since I've retrofitted it with different wheels and tires that are similar to the 17 Chevrolet SS sedan that I own, it had a 36 psi cold inflation pressure, and I want to make sure I didn't have the TPMS subsystem alerting me to false tire inflation problems, so I wanted to make sure I reset that. So in this tool you can go in and reset that pretty easy. It's like 10 seconds in each of the front and the rear pressures, so I'll show you that a little bit later in the video as well. I want to show you the items on the left turn signal stock that I'll be using to initiate and process the TPMS Relearn procedure. I'll be using the menu button to toggle between the main screen on the driver information center and over to the secondary one with the settings, which include the tire pressure screen. I'll be using the set clear button with a long press at first to initiate the relearn procedure, and then I'll be using it to press the confirmation of yes or no, and then I'll be using the scroll wheel here to go up and down between the yes and the no. Now we have it over on the driver information screen. Let me turn the key in the ignition to the key on, engine off position. And we get the boot up of the driver information center, which is normally to the primary screen, which is to the speedometer normally from myself. And I'm going to now switch over to the tire pressure screen. Of course, you can scroll to the various other items in here as well. But I'm going to press the set clear button for a few seconds to initiate the TPMS Relearn screen, at least the question for it. Are you sure that you want to relearn? And the answer in most cases would be yes, since you're going here, but in case not, you can press the set clear to exit this screen at this point, but I'm going to scroll up to the yes and press set clear to say yes, and it will honk the horn and state that it's in the active process of learning, so tire learning active. So let's go around to each location. And I'm also going to turn off the auto headlights here because it turns on some of the rear lights that confuse the stuff I'm going to show you here. So we're here at the front left, and the turn signal is illuminated, showing that this is the active wheel. We only have a couple minutes to get this done. So let's press the trigger button here on the tool to activate the sensor. So we've initiated that, and the system has picked it up and acknowledged it with a single honk. The light is now off here. And now we have the light over here on the front right. So let's get to the sensor here. Same thing with the tool. So that's it. Then press the transmit. It should single honk. It did the single honk there. And now let's move to the back. And the front turn signal did turn off, but if we look here now, we have the turn signal here on the right rear. And we're going to do the same thing here. Press the transmit on the tool. And now this light should be off. And this turn signal on the left rear is now on. And when we press this, we're gonna get a single honk saying that it learned this position, and then a double honk saying the procedure is done. And now the screen is back to the TPMS screen, tire pressure screen. So the TPMS Relearn procedure has been completed. Going into the diagnostics on my MS906 GM. Have it read the VIN. I'll blur that out. It is the correct VIN. It is the correct vehicle. I'm going to go into diagnosis. I'm going to control the body control module. And in here, I'm going to invoke a special function. The tire type and pressure selection. I've restored the original settings in here. I'm going to change the tire type and pressure. First, we're going to work on the front tires. And this is the original settings. I'm going to change their standard load tires now, given the size and everything. They were standard load, which is well within range of capable of supporting the weight of this vehicle. But I'm going to change it from extra load to standard load. Then I'm going to focus on the placard amount. The 270 was the 39 psi on the front. I'm going to change that to 248, which is 36 psi. Which probably is in the menu here, yes. And then I'm going to write those options. So we see standard load and 248. So let's continue on to the rear. And again, I'm going to change the type, edit, standard. And the rear pressure were 44, which is 300 kPa. And I'm going to change that also to 248. Click OK. Then I'm going to click on Write Options. So again, standard load for the rear, and it's at 248. And this should complete the procedure. This will cause the TPMS system to not alert until it goes 25% below the 36 psi. That way I don't have any false alerts on the TPMS system because I'm not running the High Pursuit tires. These are Continental DWS 06 tires that I used on my Chevrolet SS sedan, and 36 psi was the appropriate rating there, and I've had no problems with the particular psi. But again, that's for my particular vehicle. Set it to what you deem appropriate for your tires, wheels, and your vehicle. With that information, hopefully you can go out and perform the TPMS Relearn on your 14 through 17 Caprice PPV, and same as the Chevrolet SS sedan for the same model years 14 through 17. So it's pretty straightforward, takes a couple minutes. In fact, you only have a couple minutes to complete the procedure. So make sure you get a tool such as this one. It's a $10 to $15 tool, which I will have a link down in the description section of the video to this. There'll be an affiliate link on Amazon. So if you purchase it through that link or anything else for 24 hours, I will make a commission on that and no extra cost to you. I will also have a link to the Maxi TPMS TS601. So if you're into working at a shop and you need to program sensors, this is possibly the thing for you. You can program Autel sensors only, but it can clone IDs from existing sensors. You can type in the value, you can scan it, you can see the information reported by the sensor, and you can also upload it and check out things over the OBD2 port. So it's a pretty handy tool, but probably at a price point that a small shop would be necessary to justify the cost, unless you just like having an extra powerful kind of tool on hand at your home garage. But again, I'll have a link to both of these down in the description section. Both are affiliate links, and I will make a commission, but no extra cost to you. As you saw that I did have the Autel MaxiSys MS906 scan tool. You don't need that. I did something extra in the sense that I reset the TPMS cold inflation pressures so that the alert didn't get triggered because I'm running them at lower pressures, because I do have non-pursuit tires on the vehicle now and they run at lower pressures. These tires ran at 36 psi on the Chevrolet SS sedan, so that's why I set that to 36 psi on the TPMS subsystem on my Caprice. As the stock pressures are 39 and 44 on the sticker for my particular 14 Caprice, and those were for the high-speed pursuit tires. And my standard load Continental DWS06 tires, which are more than capable of supporting the weight load of the vehicle, they've been working just fine, but I want to make sure I didn't get any false positives as far as alerts from the TPMS subsystem because it was set to the higher pressures. You will get an alert from the TPMS subsystem when there is a pressure value that is 25% below the cold inflation value. So I want to make sure I didn't trip that, especially for the 44 value in the rear. So with that, hopefully you found the information in this video helpful. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's free. Make sure you hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload new videos like this. Check out my playlist for the Caprice and other videos on the channel, and thanks for watching.